Why would God punish an atheist for being an atheist, according to Islam? Some atheists are very nice, kind and helpful. And what about those who worship other gods? Why is disbelieving in God the worst sin, according to Islam?
I was once approached by someone who told me, I'm an atheist. I do not believe in God, but I'm a very kind and good person. I volunteer in many charitable organizations and I give to the poor. So given all that, when I die, will I go to hell? Is this the justice of you people? Just because I don't believe in God, I should enter hell? In response, I told him, let's suppose that there is a large company employing many people. Imagine that one of the employees is a very good person. He's extremely kind and cooperative and spares no effort to help his colleagues at work. He also lends them money and brings treats in for everyone in the office on a daily basis. On the other hand, his relationship with the boss is terrible. He doesn't read nor implement the instructions given to him by his boss, nor does he perform his work duties. His colleagues advised him that he should mend his relations with the boss and start performing his duties since the boss pays his salary and thereby provides him with all his needs. His response to them is that the boss isn't really there. In the presence of the boss, he stands up defiantly and says that this company has no boss. All the while, the boss is extremely patient with him. He doesn't want to fire him, and in fact, he keeps on paying him his salary regularly, but only up to a certain point. Eventually, he puts his foot down and decides to punish him and fire him. Now, how do we evaluate the performance of such an employee? Do we consider him to be a good employee? He is definitely very good towards his fellow employees, but not so with his boss. The same applies to someone who is good with the fellow men, but ill-mannered towards God. He does not thank God for his health, for his wealth, for his mind, nor for any other blessing for that matter. In fact, he doesn't even believe in the existence of God. He considers himself a very good person, but is he really? God allows him a lot of respite and delays, punishing him throughout his life as an opportunity for him to reconsider his ways. He also gave him a mind so that he could contemplate and realize the existence of God Almighty. Another important point is that an atheist claims that he does all of his good deeds, such as volunteering and giving to charity, for the good of mankind, not in the hope of reaching heaven, nor out of fear of going to hell. So what is he complaining of then? He should be pleased that he will not be going to heaven and not be bothered if he is going to hell. After all, he is doing all of his good deeds for the sake of mankind. So he should feel secure in his knowledge of that, and it should be sufficient for him. Okay. What about those who worship other gods besides the one and only God? And what about those who practice other religions? Don't worry, God will not be unfair to anyone. God describes in the Quran what will happen to such people on Judgment Day. He says, they will be told, call forth the partners you ascribe to God. So he will give them a chance to call forth their own gods and see if they can grant them entrance into heaven. The Quran also says, it will be said to them, where are those you worship besides God? Can they help you now or even help themselves? Elsewhere in the Quran, God tells Prophet Muhammad what to say to such people. He tells them, say, pray to your so-called gods besides Allah. So God will be a fair judge between us on the Day of Judgment. Let's come to the question of why is disbelieving in God the worst sin according to Islam? Don't you think treason or betrayal are big sins? Disbelieving in God is betraying God. If I bring you a glass of water, you thank me, right? If you didn't thank me, it would be very ungrateful and disrespectful. What if I keep giving you water, then food, then money, and you just take it and don't show any gratitude? And what if I give you water and you turn towards someone else and say thank you to him instead of me? Then I give you something to eat, and again you look towards him and thank him instead of thanking me. That's what disbelievers in God do. He gives them water, food, money, health, wealth, family, you name it. If they worship other gods besides the one true God, they turn to them in gratitude rather than being thankful to the one who has given them the sustenance. Or if, on the other hand, they are people of no faith, they then thank themselves, claiming that they acquired these things because of their talents, personal qualities, or hard work alone. But why do atheists so often question believers as to whether they believe that they will go to hell? It can only be for one of two reasons. The first is that he does so in order to fluster a believer, not out of genuine fear of hell nor of hope of entering heaven, because he does not even believe in either of them. Alternatively, he may do so because he is not completely convinced of his own atheism and is trying to find himself a way out, just in case there does turn out to be a God, a day of judgment, followed by a reward and a punishment. And let me tell you why an atheist thinks in such a way. What makes an atheist doubt his atheism? From a philosophical point of view, the existence of God is subject to three possibilities. His existence may be an undeniable fact, such as Muslims, Jews, Christians believe, for example. His existence may be questionable, such as agnostics believe, or otherwise his existence may be an absolute impossibility, such as atheists believe. If you ask an atheist to put forth an argument to support his beliefs that the existence of God is an absolute impossibility, he will never be able to do so. The closest he can get to supporting his claim is that the existence of God is a possibility. He may exist or he may not exist. So a person who outright denies the existence of God, saying that it is an impossibility, actually believes in something that they have no arguments to back up. Accordingly, he is being arrogantly obstinate. That is why when he questions whether or not he will go to hell, deep down he is scared, because he knows that there is a 1 in 100 or 1 in 1,000 chance that there is indeed a heaven and a hell. Let's watch a short video of Ben Stein interviewing the most notorious atheist, Richard Dawkins, in his documentary entitled Expelled, wherein he questions Dr. Dawkins on the probability of the existence of God from his point of view.
You believe it's liberating to tell people that there is no God?
I think a lot of people, when they give up God, feel a great sense of release and freedom.
Why do you think that? I mean, what's your dad? What's your scientist? What's your dad?
I think, well, I've had a lot of letters saying that, and I've...
There are 8 billion people in the world, Dr. Dawkins. How many letters have you had?
No, I haven't done that. That's quite true.
Professor Dawkins seemed so convinced that God doesn't exist that I wondered if he would be willing to put a number on it.
Well, it's hard to put a figure on it, but I mean, I'd put it as something like, 99% against or something.
Well, how do you know it's 99%?
I don't.
Say in 97%.
No, I did. You asked me to put a figure on it, and I'm not comfortable putting a figure on it. I think I just think it's very unlikely.
What? But you couldn't put a number on it?
No, of course not.
So it could be 49%.
Well, it would be. I mean, I think it's unlikely, but it's quite far from 50%.
How do you know?
I don't know. I mean, I put an argument in the book.
God understands the mindset of such people and knows that deep down they do feel, at least to some degree, there is a God. But they are merely being stubborn and arrogant. The Quran says, no, indeed the unbelievers promise each other only delusions. Staunch atheists who are proactive in convincing others of atheism are often extremely arrogant, as if they have all the answers to every matter in the universe. But in reality, they behave in such a manner to cover up their own doubts and inability to put forth an intelligent, logical argument to validate atheism. So it is basically a psychological problem and not a matter of inability to understand. This may either be a result of religion being presented to people in the wrong way, or perhaps done out of a desire to escape from the regulations and the do's and don'ts imposed by religion. It could also be superiority complex, where some people have the need to believe that they, or mankind, has no superior and are self-sufficient, or it may merely be a desire to attract attention. In a multicultural, multi-faith society, people must be able to live together in harmony without harboring animosity towards each other over religious matters. However, we should be able to have academic discussions and debates about matters of religion and belief in a friendly atmosphere. Thank you.